Dr. Emon, let's talk about this cultural development organization. Me and you are here in the US. We know this law that it is forbidden for a cultural development organization to give money to a political party. Say like you that your face is always up there, raise money, ask people to give money to go help maybe build water, or pipeline water, or construct a farm to market road. And if the government in the US see you donating that money to a political party, what will be the ramification?
So the ramification is simple. You lose your NGO
Status.
status. All right. And when you lose your NGO status, then you begin to pay taxes on every income expenditure. And then you are now like a for profit organization. And even worse, the fact that you are a political, you become an arm of a political wing. What that may mean is that think about if you get here and there is somebody here who doesn't like the politics of that particular political party organization that you are contributing to, right? So that is the ramification in the nutshell, first of all. But the other thing that is at the level of the government, at the level of the people. Remember that this money is raised by our people, okay? And
Mhm.
I have just told you that I don't think you interact with you are here in the US and you
Yeah.
interact with people. Tell me how many people you've seen in good conscience who are not thieves themselves or aspiring thieves who would support CPDM at this point. Tell me how many.
Maybe
Have you seen
zero.
any? Have you
No,
interacted
zero.
with any?
No, no, I don't think there's any genuinely will really support.
But these our people who are you are going to ask them to donate money, and then they are donating the money, and then you are using part to support a moribund party, a murderous party, the party that has been plundering their community for 60 years, and for 8 of those 60 years has plunged us into war, that has raised our villages to, I mean, some of them, some of our villages to ashes, and has caused our kids not to go to school for this for this length of time. You tell me that if I came back and I asked you, Ernest Kumba, and I said, Ernest, I need you to actually donate money, and you realize that I was going to donate that money, part of that money was going to go and support a political cause you do not agree, CPDM that you don't agree. Would you give me that money?
No, 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 no. It won't.
This is
Won't.
the problem, right? As you say, look, in Ohio, we raised 30,000 or 30 something thousand on the
Yes,
floor.
around 37. Yeah,
Yes, in Washington D.C., we raised about 67,000 on the floor,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
In Boston, we
Boston.
raised about 105,000 on the floor, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And here's what the problem is. In fact, I actually flew from Africa in one of our missions, to come back here to come and do the fundraising and then go back. And so that if we had had time to plan, because you could see the trajectory,
Hmm.
we would have been able to have raised at least 150,000 in Boston alone. All right, one night.
Yeah.
That is thing. And you are looking and we're seeing that our projection was that by the time we get to Virginia next year, we should be able to raise at least that 150 to $200,000. We should, and we can. The people in the BLM, the traditional leadership in the BLM, and the leadership generally, they really failed to grasp the potential
Yeah.
that they have. All right, the potential they have. The BLM has got to be one of the most blessed divisions. And
Hmm.
I mean, there's in the Bible they will talk about the stone that the Buddha rejected has become the
Yeah. The cornerstone become the main pillar.
okay. Here, actually, out here, you see when you look at the number of kids from the BLM with the potentials that they have, right? You just marveled at what the possibilities could be. Were we to have a leadership back home that actually was guided by the same principles that used to guide our people: morality, justice, and compassion and fairness. If we still had this, can you imagine? Can you just imagine what these people can come and what we can do together? But when you come and then you come and personally, I would tell you, There is absolutely no way. I'm only glad that Lokudo USA had nothing to do with
With
that
the-
contribution. And because had Lokudo USA had made any contribution in that, personally, I would never contribute to Lokudo USA anymore. I don't contribute to political organizations, at least not the ones that the murderers, like the ones in Cameroon. I will not. So we must be sure that the president of Lokudo Cameroon must understand. I don't think that he understands the weight of the office that he has. And so by just the idea that he will show up, he can, and first of all, and be a member, a partisan politician, and have his name on that. It's completely unacceptable, morally, ethically, and and prudentially. These are
yeah,
not acceptable. But then, worse still, you go to Menji, you introduce yourself as the president of Leban, of Lukudu National.
mhm,
All right,
yeah,
and you are not there. You become a partisan. You're part of the what do you call it? Like the election. He was the chairman of one of the electoral offices there in
yeah.
yeah.
The police
So
station or whatever.
yeah, polling station or whatsoever. And then you talk about when you do all of this, you are engaging Leban in what Leban has not asked you to do. And in every sane organization, actually, the man should be resigning or articles of impeachment should be submitted for Leban people to say no. That's you overstepped your bounds. We didn't ask you to do that in our name. You did that in your own name.
Yes, Dr. Emma, you remember because the why I really wanted us to talk about it because if this were to happen, I mean, I'm glad that you are able to really present it in a very clear way that people will be able to see that if the Kudu USA will be involved in this, I think one of the areas that you may not have mentioned, I mean, you talk for yourself particularly, and you do know the consequences that will have affected. I mean, I'm glad that you were able to show the statistic, the trajectory, the exponential rise for the past couple of years. How if the Kudu USA may have eventually donated to this political party, do you know what will happen to the current organization right now?
No, that's what I
So,
told you. Like
yeah,
it would collapse. Okay,
exactly, yeah,
the organization will collapse. And I was just telling you that I would not have donated. All right. Let me tell you that when this happened, I had to go back and actually make sure that none of us, our organization here, did not contribute a dime to that misadventure. And so
Dr. Emma, I think this is one of the because there has been this discussion of merging this organization to become general. Now, when you begin to see things happening like this, then you begin to ask yourself if they could become general, and now the Kudu USA become a branch of the Kudu general, then the general president go and begin to politicize the office of the Kudu general and begin to mobilize, raise money, and give to a political party. The Kudu USA suck into that. I mean, I'm just saying, hey,
yeah.
is this what people would really want to do? I mean, if we were be trying to become together to become part of it, then this is happening. Then I mean, this gives the Kudu USA maybe a second time and say, hey, this discussion that has been going on, we really need to think about ourselves.
And not only Lokudo USA, right? Of course, Lokudo USA, we need to think about ourselves. That is, my thought about this, and
Yeah,
including a name change, because this has actually been affecting us in ways that even when I go to raise these funds, each time you are trying to raise funds, there are always people who would, point to some of the malfeasance of the Kudu Cameroon. And
yeah,
if we're not there debating, we're debating failed projects, we're debating unsupervised projects, we're debating their inability to be able to actually even contribute their own dime. The lack of imagination on the part of the leadership. These are all the things. So we cannot be in Cameroon. I hear if people say, "Oh, it is not illegal for the president of an organization to be president, to be a partisan politician." There in America, it is illegal. It is illegal.
yeah,
And so we must begin to think and think very, very carefully. And no doubt, me and you are actually even talking about this. No doubt, the organization in Cameroon also cannot live up to its true potentials, because if the man in the president general is a card-carrying member of a particular political party, and you were part of LECUDO, and you were president of LECUDO Yaoundé, or LECUDO Bafoussam, or LECUDO Bamenda, or whatever, and you were of an opposition party,
Party.
right?
Yes.
Why would you want to be able to, to work with
Donate
this
money to go and give
party?
to your opponent.
It is, in fact, as you know, it is not just any normal opponent in Cameroon, right? This is a place where the people's vote has been stolen, and post-electoral violence has already killed how many people? 100 people or more. All right, in Cameroon, and many of those are who? The kids who were protesting, because they were in the opposition. How many of those would have been Bangla kids if they and of an opposition when they are the president of their so-called organization that rallies all of them, that they would have been contributing their own funds, would have been on the opposite side, right?
Right.
When they're on the opposite side. And you know that many of them are the ones who are actually going to give the names, identify the people they believe are quote unquote troublemakers because
Yeah.
they are of the opposition. Okay? And this is the sad part of it. I think about Fontem Lafang. The stories goes, we were not born, but that at the time of Southern Cameroons, when you had more than, you still had a more than one political party, genuine political party. Fontem Lefang, everybody would come to him, all the leaders of the political organization, and he will call them and he say, look, if you are of KNDP or you are of whatever political, you are still a son of or daughter of Leban,
Yeah.
right? And so he will bless you and say, go and do well. If you go get something, it would be for
Yeah.
the interest of the bank.
Lebanon.
All right. So this is where he himself never, that's why he never got himself involved in politics. And so since the Lokudo actually is the collective, is that safe space
Yeah.
of
Where everybody can belong.
everybody can belong. This is the reason why ethically it is impermissible for the president or the leadership of that organization who is sitting to be partisan. If you can come and lead the organization, but then after that, if you want to go and use the your put it on your CV to go and become partisan, you must necessarily resign first, from the leadership of an organization that is apolitical. The word apolitical, it means it is apolitical. And so we must really go back to these very fundamentals. This is the reason why this leadership failed, because again, the things that the predicates, the common predicates, you take courses in the university, all right? You took courses in the university, and there are certain courses that are called prerequisites, right? Which means you need to actually have a fundamental understanding of certain courses in order to qualify to take another course. All right. So the predicate of good leadership is actually, first of all, appreciating the reason why certain rules exist, understanding the organization profoundly, which brings me to part of the problem. I hear the president of LECUDO is now what? A member of the council, of what, regional council, right? Again, it's unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. And who knows, are you going to then use that to become the next parliamentarian? No, good if you want to do that, but no if you are doing that, why, as a sitting member of LECUDO, of the president of LECUDO? Totally unacceptable. And if there is going to be a revision in the Constitution, if they claim that there is not these clauses in the Constitution, the ethics of that place prudence demands that they change that Constitution and make it possible and start with the current president, so that if he decides and thinks that politics is what he wants to do, let him resign from that position and let somebody else carry on the affairs of the organization. And this goes for not just LECUDO. We're talking LECUDO just because we know. And now it's the same thing for Lukundem, for EGDA, for any other cultural organization. These are sacred spaces for the Bangwa people, for the May people. They are not political arms of any political party, and they can never be, and they should never be. I feel very strongly about this.
Yes, Dr. Emo, thank you so much, dear viewer. I think this is some of the things that, because the reason why you see Dr. Emo being so passionate, because these are the organization that has served us. I mean, I've been to a sort, I've reported there. It is EGDA that is serving that same community. It is LECUDEM that is serving the war. It is LECUDO that is serving the bank. So it is not something that we are just speaking out of space.
$200. Let us clap for the Kundam USA and tell them that we thank them so much.